if you could just speak to us about these two things generally, that how do we revisit past visually, and second, how do we choose the right music?
Right. So this obviously is a little more complicated. I mean, it's a little different in my case, and for journalists who are trying to create stories a lot faster, it does become a little more complicated because as far as I know, if you guys ever end up taking jobs with a media production house, or for that matter, some channel like NDTV, I don't know what are the kind of budgets that would be available to you to do a piece. I know that it's very limiting, right? So I don't know if I can speak for you guys there, but I can tell you my process, what how it was easier for me with. I mean, I had the option of going and shooting stuff that I wanted. Not that I was creating everything again, but I could tell some people, sir, can you move from here to here with your gun like that? So I had that to use it a certain way. But that being said, uh, so I'll tell you how I approached it. That being said, the footage was limited. So how I approached it was, again, like I said, it was sound first. What I did not have a limit on was I always had their stories, right? I could get them to sit and chat about the incident at length. And having grown up in that environment, I could communicate with them a certain way. Like I've grown up around around the soldiers since I was young. I've hung out with them a lot, so I know how to talk to them in their lingo. I can speak bits of their language as well. So it's very easy for me to sort of tally up to them, right? And so I got them talking, and I had a lot of sort of sound bites with me. In the sense, I had a lot of interview footage, and what I did first was with those four people who were in the operation and the family members, I first made a sound sort of. I made the story via sound, right? That is sort of the difference you'll see between the first film, which is Hangpanda, the second film, which is Lion of Ladakh. Lion of Ladakh, I could not pull off with just their bites. Then I had to approach the voiceover way. What I did here was and generally it's very tempting to go and start cutting footage straight away, and try piecing a story together visually. But if you have it sonically, if your story is there sonically, it's very easy to then just try and marry visual to that, because your outline is already in place. The first draft of it took me 6 days at least,
Okay.
just listening, and obviously then I had options, right? I can make this guy say this part of the story, I can make this guy say this part of the story, and whose delivery is more effective to what my end objective is. Like, it is my job to get you it was a very complicated film if you look at it, because I'm trying to explain an operation. Okay,
Mhm.
someone's escaping from here, someone's going from there, all of that, like we're laying out a cordon. And this was something that was given to me by many people who were at different points at that point of time. So this guy is on this mountain, this guy is at this post. And what I did eventually was to just marry that and have like a nice, strong, unquestionable uh,
Mhm.
se- sequence of events. Then it became very easy for me to put visual to that, so that I can max out what the story is trying to say instead of the other way around.
One way of looking at it is that, like you are saying, that first you do the interview and structure the story. So go according to the bites, or the interview that you have, lay that down on the timeline perhaps, and then look at, okay, what when this person is saying or talking about an incident, or whatever this person is saying, what can I show here?
Yeah,
So that is something.
and I wish, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I wish I'd shot the film like that. I hadn't shot the film like that. That was how I
Okay.
shot the second film. But the first film, that's not how we shot it. The first film, in fact, we did that parallelly. And that's what I realized on the edit table after going virtually nowhere with it for almost 10-12 days. And I said, okay, this is not going anywhere. That's when I tried this approach. right? And that's when I realized, oh, this is the way to go for something like this.
Yeah.
So making the story out first, and that's why I said I had limited footage. Had I done this beforehand, taken the stories, laid it out on a timeline, and then gone and shot whatever I needed, probably the film could have been even stronger. But I was on a very, very tight budget, and we were traveling
Mhm.
in Arunachal Pradesh, which was very difficult. So there's no electricity. And
Yeah, I really love this thing about the way it was edited. Like just before Hang Pang Dada is to be shot, you bring the audiences back to his home
yeah,
to drive that point home that it's a real person. He has a wife, he has kids. And then it goes back to the battlefield, and that's when he's shot. And, so that was a very smart way of like uh, generating empathy for the character.
it would also be safe to say that uh, we had developed after spending 15 days there, we had developed like this very strong connection towards it. There
Mhm.
were eerie things happening to us. In fact, when we were traveling there, when we there were times that we got lost, and it felt like, I mean, I'm not going to tell you the entire story now, but it almost felt like his spirit is trying to guide us through. It was unreal. So I don't know. Some things I guess in life they happen.
Yeah, yeah. I heard about that,
Yeah.
from Divya, that you had several such experiences.
Yes. And also
Yeah,
by virtue of Arunachal being Arunachal, the mystic state
right,
that it is.
right.
So,
If we could also have your input on what kind of music, or how do we really choose the right music for a film?
so here, I would definitely recommend picking up music that puts you there. If you notice why we go with taiko drums and stuff like that, even though they're mostly Japanese, I mean, but you can sort of relate the environment of say mountains and greenery and you know more of like an Eastern culture. So if you don't notice, even with Lion of Ladakh, the music roots you sort of in that mountain culture. There's not much about, except for when the operation is probably going down. It's very sort of electronic, and it brings you into what an action score would generally sound like. But when we are trying to lay out the scenario, for example, with this knowledge, if you guys go back to watch the film, you will see that every time that we're laying out a scenario, it's the music is done in a way that it puts you there. In the sense, when we're talking about the king of Ladakh using a mountain pass, for example, with the kind of flutes that we're using, or all of that will definitely put you in that. So that is, I would say, an advantage that I have being a composer and a producer. If you are doing a story in say Himachal or Ladakh, if you're doing a story in Rajasthan, try and use music that sets you in this space. There are a lot of musicians now, especially, who you can reach out to and say that, okay, I'm trying to do a piece like this. Mm, can you help me? And they'd be very happy to give you their pieces. So you just got to keep listening. And
As an old school journalist, you usually think that adding music to journalistic videos is not ideal. I mean, it takes away from the pure documentary element of journalism.
that's a very very interesting point. Actually, I would very strongly recommend against using music in most sort of news bulletins or even documentaries for that matter. See, what happened with my films was we were making it for the like I said, it was the 75 years of the regiment. It was effectively more of a storytelling. It was a documentary, but it was more for an occasion to celebrate a hero who has already done his deed instead of reporting an ongoing event. You know.
In journalistic stories, we do not have much space uh, to create, I mean, fictional things like you created in Hampan Dada, or like recreating the visuals. So how can we compensate with the visuals then? Like how do we bring back those moments without recreating much? Because then it becomes more fictional, and in journalistic stories we do not have that space much. So how can we like compensate that?
See, like I said, I mean, just approach with sound first so that you have that structure in place. Uh, and I don't know the kind of stock libraries that are available to you, but I would definitely suggest when you're working with limited footage, go sound first, base your story there, and then marry imagery in.
So how we look at it or deal with at Stories Asia is that we say that our films or our videos that are narrative in fashion are actually opinion pieces. It's something like what the New York Times and the Washington Post have also started doing, that they have started marking their videos as opinion. It's op docs, opinion documentaries at NYT, and Washington Post also would mark their videos, which are just feature-ish videos where the journalist has, you know, not manipulated, but uh, taken liberty about how do you show it with the use of music, etc. So for those reasons, we say that it's all right for our journalists to use music. But of course, what we warn against is that do not seek to create emotions with music. But if you want to enhance it, all right. Or if you just want to, like you very rightly pointed out, that for you, music was about putting people there.
Particularly if we see the documentary that are being made by platforms like The Vice, and where they use music very strongly along with narration.
Mhm.
And so, can you explain that process more? That what should be the line dividing between music and narration, and especially with respect to the journalistic projects.
You know, this is a difficult question to answer. I mean, I don't really have a stand on this as such. You know what I mean? So like last when I spoke about not using music, I was talking about okay, prime time television kind of reporting, right? But with documentaries, I think it's sort of okay if you had to make it a gripping narration or gripping explanation of something. You know, it is difficult with the kind of noise everywhere to catch your viewers' attention. So Vice, as far as I've seen, Vice goes for really interesting content, and they tell the story very interestingly as well. It doesn't seem like the music is particularly being used to manipulate how you feel about something. It's being used as an interesting aid to sort of explain things that otherwise might be dull. Always see that your music is lifting the film, lifting the story. At no point, if you're using music, it has to be as an aid and not just as an extra layer. So you think, okay, if you placing a piece over there, it has to lift your, it has to make it less boring. You should not feel at any moment like, and that happens if you're sitting through a film of say even 2 minutes and looking at it 100 times over while you're editing it, and there's a certain part of it where you feel it slows down a little bit. It probably does have a lot to do with your choice of music there.
The structure that you had in Hampan Dada of making people more relate to him before he was shot. So, what are some of the things that we can keep in mind while structuring a story that you in particular would suggest us?
Uh, so you may not always have a story that you are connected with the way, for example, I was connected to that story. But I mean, any story that you start reporting or a certain way, and like you said, you choose to give out some stuff you choose to hold it back. There's a reason why you're choosing to give it out, and there's a reason why you decide to pull some stuff back.
It hurts you more when you see somebody who is good suffering. Uh, so, in characterization, would you suggest that we also go beyond the realm of relevance to the story?
With the reference to this film, it was happening. We said that okay, he saved his friend's life. Even though you don't pay attention to that, but it's already done something for you, right? You already like him a little more. And I hate to use this as an example like that, because these were things that we just realized as we went shooting and as we started gathering these stories. I did not know that he had done this before I went. But yeah, when you say relevance, definitely go for relevant things, yeah, in terms of characterization, but not to go too far into it. Like just as much as what is required to give you an overall perspective. It's like, okay, saying that acha, Somesh naam ka ek aadmi hai and he's gone and built this building. Maybe it would have a little more impact saying that Somesh is Sumesh has been very hardworking since the start, and then he's gone and built the building. Then you might start feeling for the building a little more emotionally, right? And that's everyone's story. Everyone that goes on to doing something big, which is worth reporting, has a story to it. So you just pull out the parts that will sort of add to your end game, which is the building or which is whatever it might be.
So when we watched both of your films, I think we were able to see or feel how closely or how well you know the army and how well or how close you are with all the atmosphere. So is it easy or difficult to make a film on a topic or a subject which you're not very connected to? As journalists, we are in that situation. So how do you see that?
So I do not, first of all, call myself a journalist at all. So I may not be the best person to answer that question. But like I was just answering someone else's question before, is there is a certain reason why you would decide to tell the story in a certain way. For example, if there were 10 things available to you and you decided to choose 3 when you tell your story, that is your emotional investment with that, and that's as far as it goes. I mean, you cannot go any deeper than that even if you tried, right? So just use those and tell them best, and I think you would do a great job.
Got to congratulate Somesh for Masaba Masaba. I mean, it's doing great. I've been following Divya's Instagram stories and I've been watching everything. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
In the future also, Somesh, do you think you will be focusing more on producing and composing music and not filmmaking so much?
So we've just finished another film. Okay, it's we're trying to find the right buyers for it. I will be involved with films. It's a medium that I really enjoy. I don't know if I'll ever get into doing. Maybe I will a piece like Dada again, but because it's difficult to do. You can't like, it takes up a lot of your energies. I really hope I can get around to doing it at a bigger scale. If you look at Lion of Ladakh and Hanpan Dada, they've been done at very tiny scale. It's almost sometimes you could call it. You could almost say that it looks like a college project.
No, not at all. No, I disagree.
Okay, but definitely, if I got to do it at a bigger scale, I would invest more time into this. But as of now, we are doing more fictional pieces. We just finished one. We're looking for a buyer for that, and we're already writing 2-3 more and collaborating here and there. So, films is always going to keep happening. I wish you guys all the best. Don't do stories that you feel uncomfortable about in your gut. And yeah, I think all of you will do really well. And I would also suggest before signing off is be open to all the disciplines of filmmaking, because that's the way things are going now. It's becoming more and more a one-person game as the teams are getting smaller. So the more responsibilities you can take up, especially in the earlier years, you'll find yourself being able to create more, because there will be stories where you can't go with a crew of 5, 7, 10 people. You need to size down, so to like try and get into, okay, I can shoot, I can edit, I can do sound. At least the basics of it is what I would suggest to all of you. That's the way things are going now.